Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's Walk and Talk is experiencing reality differently. I feel like this is a theme. It is a theme, and it is my main mission for everyone to realize that they are consciousness, just happen to be in physical form. And so everything that we're experiencing in the hologram, in this reality, this Truman Show that we're all in, it's not correct to say that it's an illusion, because then we start to think that it's fake. It's a creation of consciousness. So it is meant to be real. It is physically real, and we're in physically real bodies. However, when you shift your perspective to that as consciousness, suddenly reality starts reorganizing in really surprising and different ways. The other thing I find is that it doesn't really matter how difficult or challenging the storyline is when I can shift my perspective to being that as consciousness. Then I am in agreement with everything that's going on, mainly because I'm in touch with myself as greater consciousness. So I am creating this storyline and everything in it. But the other fun thing is things will shift and the storyline will alter or change in some way. It may be shocking at first. This grandchild was unexpected. It's delayed our move to Spain a bit, and that reality is also still reorganizing. I think she's going to love being a flamenco dancer. She's probably going to be a redhead. And at the same time, it's been a lot of fun interacting with this being that is bouncing around on my chest right now, because she created just an amazing experience coming into this world, choosing the parents that she has, and the reality she stepped into, and that is constantly changing. Astrologically, she's a double Sagittarius, but I think she needs to be in order to kick her daddy's butt. Where am I going with all of this? Something else I've been experiencing just recently is that everything is feeling very real to me. And how do I explain that? I have different times going through reality that can be very difficult and uncomfortable, intense, and I'm experiencing everybody else's reality, and everybody else is going through difficult, uncomfortable, intense experiences. But something I have noticed just in the past, maybe it's been a week, that everything in this reality that I'm walking through right now just feels very real. And I've had times, like when I've come back from helping my brother and sister-in-law in New York, and it doesn't feel real. It feels very disconnected. I'm finding that interesting and comforting, and I'm enjoying being in the here and now, even as I work towards my vision to being retired in Spain. I remember when I first went through a very strong consciousness shift in 2006. I would find that I would be walking across a parking lot at a grocery store, and I would feel like I was on a movie set. And I knew that when that was happening, that I had stepped into a parallel universe where I was operating more consciously. How do I feel about this right now? It doesn't feel the same way. It doesn't feel like a movie set. I feel very attuned to all of nature. I actually did this when I first went to New York. It was so different. I was in Queens, and I would walk along the street and I'd acknowledge the trees. And suddenly the whole line of trees, scraggly trees in New York City, would be alert and aware and acknowledging me, because very few people acknowledge nature there, I'm guessing. But what I am feeling here is when I shift my perspective to higher consciousness, then everything that is alive comes into play. I'm in conscious connection with everything that is alive. I invite you, wherever you are, to get an experience of nature. Honestly, if you are in a city, there's gotta be a park. Get yourself out in nature, get yourself out your backyard, stand by a tree, and shift your perspective to that as greater consciousness. How do you do that? So what I do is I stop, you can take a deep breath, and just allow myself to be present. It is kind of a shifting up to a higher vibratory level. And the more that you do this, the more real it will become to you. Honestly, it is a really key factor in getting through these difficult times, because collectively we're going through a shift in consciousness, and the people who are not going through it willingly because their old paradigm of power is disintegrating, they're the ones that are completely freaking out. They're the ones trying to do all these really overt power grabs. Ultimately, it's not going to work. But while we're in the middle of the storyline, it can be really kind of shocking. And yeah, so I created a little baby being to bring me into the present moment and shift my attention off of doom scrolling. She was born on November 26th. She was a month early, so there really wasn't an opportunity to be too bummed out about the election, because I had a whole life-changing experience happening. I, again, invite you to shift your awareness to consciousness. The more you do it, the more real it becomes. Like I said earlier, you will find a complete change in your reality. You can find that reality reorganizes in your favor. Surprising and unexpected things happen. You might find an increase in synchronicity. You can dismiss it as just coincidental. There are no coincidences. Why do I feel like talking about time is lasagna? Sure, I'll throw in time is lasagna. So another awareness I had since my consciousness shift in 2006 is that nothing is linear. We experience life from the past to the future in our physical bodies. Our physical bodies experience things in the illusion of time. But I've started to become aware of time being like lasagna. And the denser part of it is farther in the past. The more diffuse part is in the future. But what we're experiencing now is the density of the past bubbling up through the different layers. That's why we're experiencing a revisitation of times like this before that were pretty horrendous. And it's all a part of clearing things out. When Trump was originally elected, I didn't expect him to be elected. I thought he was just there to bring the woodworms out of the woodwork, the darkness out of the woodwork. And then he got into office, and he's been, since his first administration, exposing the darkness, bringing the darkness to light. When this is all said and done, we'll look back and see our reaction to it as ultimately being beneficial. You know, we came out of World War II with more of a sense of unity in the world. I feel like our great experiment of democracy was ready for an upgrade. Things that our founders could not possibly have imagined. Things need to be written into the law, overturned, or specified, so things like this don't happen again. I will have to say there are some core things that were already in the law, in the Constitution, so that this wouldn't happen. But we have people who are paralyzed and also equally shackled to the old paradigm of power themselves and can't imagine a reality different. But fortunately, the rest of us can. There's a really fun tool I call parallel universes. Every time you step forward, you're stepping into a parallel universe. It's a multiverse. There are multiple parallel universes. If you think of this as a video game, every possibility in the video game is running simultaneously. As you step forward, you can be stepping into different possibilities. It's best not to do this with your mind. It's best just to do it playfully and fun or intuitively. And as you do that, you can step into realities where things are unfolding in your favor. And when you do that, that's when unexpected, synchronistic things happen that ultimately lead you to a more agreeable reality. So if you like these videos, please share them with your family and friends and on your social media. And please click the heart button, the thumbs up button, like, follow, or subscribe. And leave a comment below also, because doing all those things tell the algorithm to share this far and wide and get this out to people who really need to hear this information. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. I have a free offer down below and a link down below, as well as some of the other things that I do. I will see you next week for either a walk and talk or another Mystic Musings. And I think somebody needs diaper change. See you next week.